Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, and thank you so much for joining me today for the Friday Masterclass, where today we're going to be deep diving into collaboration with Frame.io, and specifically leveraging Frame.io for dailies, or sometimes known as rushes. And we're going to kind of cover all of this. If you're unfamiliar with those terms, doesn't matter what kind of video making. What? Doesn't matter what kind of video you're making. You don't have to be in Hollywood. You don't have to be making stuff for Netflix. You could just be making video. And what you're going to find is that the processes that I'm going to take you through today, along with my friend Sean, whom you've met before on the stream, we're going to kind of show you and go through exactly why you need this process, why you can use this process today. And as some of you might be aware, a couple of weeks ago we had the NAB conference in Las Vegas, and we showcased the new integrated version of Frame.io, which is now directly integrated into Premiere Pro in a new panel. So previously, when I showed this a couple months ago, we were using this extension that you would download via the Creative Cloud desktop. You don't need to do that anymore. It's built right into Premiere. It's also built into After Effects. This is an incredible workflow, and Sean's going to, I think, blow your mind with awesomeness. Well, maybe not entirely, but you know, he's definitely going to show you some amazing things and just kind of show you the ease of this. And he is the expert on all of this, and I'm really excited to do it for you today. So, of course, we're coming to you live across multiple networks: YouTube, Adobe Live, Behance, Twitter, and LinkedIn today. So thank you so much for joining. A couple of quick shout outs, as always, as I go over to my chats, which are delayed here. Hold on a second, they're coming up. All right, what's up, Cody? Thank you so much. Reverb Mike, Z by HP. Steve, how's it going? All right, Karen, James, Black and White Yoga Blog, nice to see you. Okay, so we've got lots of stuff to cover as always. Want to remind everybody that if you want to chat, and of course our friends from NFS as well, welcome, thank you for watching. If you're not on the NFS site and you want to chat, this is the chat that you want to be following. So b.net/Adobe Live, that will get the chat right in front of my face here so I can see exactly what you're talking about. Happy Friday. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, before I bring up Sean, or actually maybe I'll do this right before I bring up Sean. Shihabis, how you doing? You know, this is, we do this thing every now and again. I do this thing every now and again called Flashback Friday. And I like to showcase some funny things from the past. And as it turns out, once again, I have a video that I wanted to share with you. So this is from something that I did way back in 1987, and this was done for a school science project. And I did this video called "The Changes in Electronic Music, 1967 to 1987." There I am in my bedroom at the time. So this is hilarious. It's just great. I had all these videos and things transferred. I talked about this previously via this company called Legacy Box. Not a sponsor, but they are awesome. Check them out. So let me just play this 20-second intro for you or so, and take a look at me in 1987 for Flashback Friday. Oh, and it would be nice if I unmuted myself. Arg!
This film illustrates the many changes that occurred in electronic music within the last 27 years. It is intended to show how modern technology has helped aid musicians to make their music sound like it never had before. And now, sit back, relax, and watch the show.
And as I pointed out to Sean, the fade to black that you see there is, of course, not a digital fade to black. That is my friend, who was the cameraman, turning down the dimmer in my bedroom. So old school, fun. You can see the old Mac Plus in there. All right. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that for Flashback Friday. We'll have a little bit more at the end of the show. Now, it is my pleasure to bring a previous Masterclass guest. You know him, you love him. He's an awesome dude. Sean McDaniel, fellow Adobe employee. How are you doing today, Sean?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, it's fun to rediscover these old videos. We were talking about that before the show. We both had kind of a similar history of doing video and media production, AV production in high school and stuff. And this is pre-high school. So yeah, it's always fun. Kind of puts me in a good mood. But primarily, I'm in a great mood because we're really going to get to showcase the collaborative, but more importantly, this concept of working with dailies. And really, for anybody watching, dailies are just what you shoot on a given day, raw, unedited, no color correction, just so that you can review all the content you have to make sure that it's kind of, working against your shot list or your storyboard. And you're going to kind of go through all of this and kind of evidence to people that doesn't matter what type of video you're making, you could be doing this.
Yeah, totally agree. It's funny you bring up the Flashback Friday thing, because I was just telling you earlier that I had this similar program in high school broadcast, and we worked off mini DV tapes. So we had to manually go in and import each section and use login capture. And it's a tedious process. But I mean, in that process, you're creating dailies as you're ingesting each section of tape that you need. So this process has been around for a long time.
Yep.
But yeah, Frame.io, I think, has kind of streamlined that process a bit and made it a lot easier. And I think the biggest part is the collaboration aspect of it, because you used to not be able to do that. You should not be able to leave notes on dailies and clips. You used to have to wait several days to get the film back from the lab and watch it in a screening room, and wait for somebody to actually physically take the reels of film to wherever it needs to go. So we've definitely come a long way.
Or when you talk about leaving notes, I mean, I can remember, and I'm going back even a little earlier than you, because as I mentioned, we were actually using 3/4 inch decks, doing like assembly style edits, and there would be physical post-it notes on the monitor with time code going, yeah, this shot stinks, this is good, this one was blurry. Oh, and also for all of the fellow video archivist nerds watching, we used to shoot on, and I was saying to Sean, we shot on VHS, but I remember we upgraded to SVHS cameras. So we'd shoot onto SVHS, transfer to 3/4, edit with the 3/4 machine, and then bounce back down to VHS to be broadcast. So the quality was
just
awesome.
Just blurs in color.
And lots of, lines and yes, a lot of RGB going on there. So
yeah,
fun
indeed.
stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you what, why don't we get into it? We've got a couple more hellos. What's up, Eugene from Belgium? How are you doing? How are you doing, Jawad? Let's get into this. So what is the footage specifically that we're looking at today? And I know you're also going to kind of tease something that we also announced at NAB. We've got Michael, your colleague, coming up next week to kind of go more in depth with this, but a little something with the acronym C2C.
Oh, yeah. So C2C stands for camera to cloud. And yeah, the announcements were pretty amazing. I'll let Michael kind of run the show on that, but just to kind of give you a quick little note, but this opens the door up for a lot of filmmakers. It opens the door up for a lot of cameras to be able to use this technology. Look, we want everybody to have access to this type of workflow increasement of being able to get your dailies out there, to get your footage in a central location where everybody can kind of tap into it and access it. And with our announcements, we kind of broaden that up. Obviously, we have an upgrade from Teradek, which is our original partner for Camera to Cloud, that allowed for proxies to be uploaded. But that required specific kinds of cameras with specific kinds of plugs to go into that Teradek in order to send those proxies out. But just this last year, we've got Atomos that opens up a whole wide variety of cameras. So virtually any HDMI camera can plug into the Atomos system and allow you to upload those to Frame.io using Camera to Cloud. And then for those of you that enjoy Filmic Pro, that was another latest announcement. We've actually integrated. Yeah, there you go, right on your mobile device. You go inside your settings, log in with Frame.io, and basically send your proxies right up to Frame. So no matter what camera you have, it is, because it opens it up for a lot. Because at first, I think it was tough to broaden that scope for a lot of users. But I think with this announcement, it opens the door up for many. So let's have that conversation on dailies, because it's a whole new world now.
Let's do it. All right. So whenever you're ready to share, I'll pull up your screen. What's up, Jan or Jan? And let me know when you're sharing here. So again, now we mentioned Filmic Pro, and this is something that a lot of our certainly video users here on Adobe Live and elsewhere have used, and I imagine many of the NFS crowd as well. The amazing thing about this is it is exactly what it says. You're shooting on your mobile device, and then in that process, it is uploading a proxy to the Frame.io project, which, regardless of where your editor or person is, it's there when you're ready to start working. I mean, it's just there. And this is an incredible thing, and it doesn't require extreme amounts of hardware. By the way, is this supported? Is Filmic Pro iOS only? Is there an Android version of that? I don't know if there is.
No, Filmic's on both. I think it's on
Nice.
iOS
Okay,
and Android.
sweet.
So.
Sweet, because that's even better. Are you sharing it? I'm not seeing your.
I am. For some reason it's those darn security settings on the computer is needing me to do that. So let me see
well, then you're gonna have to bounce out and come back in. We're gonna have to say goodbye to you for a second. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Let me do this real fast.
We still love you, Sean. It's one strike, but still love you. It's okay.
All right.
Well, while Sean is tending to his settings. So again, now I'm going to just quickly, let me show you this because I've got the panel open. So here we are in Premiere Pro, okay? And this is the new Frame.io panel. Now it looks a lot like the old Frame.io panel. The difference is that now under the window menu, you will see that there is an option here, Review with Frame.io. So previously, as I mentioned, this was something that you would have had via the extension here, okay, that you would download via the CC Desktop app. No longer do you need to do that. Now, I've already logged in here. You can see my little login right there. You log in. I think it actually takes you to a web version as well. And then everything is rocking, and then you're connected. And Sean's going to kind of go through that whole process of how we can then, bring in other people and begin doing other things with this. And there is Sean. So let me go back to me. All right. Cool. All right. I see your screen now. Yes. Very good.
Okay. We should be good to go.
Yep. We're in. All right, Sean.
All right. I'm not sure where you left off, but I know you mentioned a little bit about Adobe being integrated, or Frame.io being integrated within Premiere and After Effects as well. So for any animators in their audience. But yeah, it is fully integrated in the application now. Now, if some of you downloaded the panel before, it's very similar access. But now that it's part of Premiere, you just simply need to go into your window, go under your workspaces and choose Review. You can also just pull up the actual Frame.io panel inside.
Thank you for showing the workspace too. I always forget that we with things like this we also create new workspaces. So yes, excellent. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So depending on how you work, it's you could kind of change and organize it how you feel is best. But yeah, it's here's the panel here. Got it opened. And we can access all of my projects right inside Frame. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this process before, but I want to go into the actual dailies look inside of Premiere. Now, I'm going to show you the Camera to Cloud dailies because the one thing I really like about Camera to Cloud, and again, I know Michael's going to go over it, is I like the way it organizes your media. A lot of times footage can get lost. It can get misplaced. And if you're not keen on keeping that stuff organized right at the front, it can be a mishmash everywhere. And I'm sure, if you're working on a shoot that's got multiple cameras and you've got a lot of different things happening on that production, the nice thing about Camera to Cloud is if all your cameras are on C2C, they're organized by shoot date, which is pretty standard for how DITs kind of do it now. And once you go into that folder with the date in it, it actually breaks out each device separately. So I only have one camera in here right now, but I'm sorry, I have two cameras in here. I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
So if I have multiple cameras, no matter what system, I can have a camera on a Teradek. I can have a camera on Atomos. I can have Filmic Pro growing. In fact, at NAB, we had virtually every camera that was on the floor that was connected to Camera Cloud in a single project. And you can actually see all of them broken out into this space. But once I enter that camera, I could see all of my shots in here. Nice and organized. It keeps the same file name, and then of course it keeps the same time code so that you can relink or conform or however your workflow process of getting your hero edit out will be. But all that information, all that metadata is in these files so that you can do that process later. But awesome. the big kicker is the collaboration portion. And actually, Jason, if you want, you can go into any one of these clips and leave me some feedback. I'll say I just shot this, and you're remote. Maybe you weren't able to make it, or maybe there's some personal reasons why you couldn't be out there. Maybe you still want to be able to see the footage.
All right, I think I'm going to do that right now.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, now while I'm doing this, of course, maybe you could just show very quickly how you bring people into a project.
I was just going to say, while you're doing
Yeah.
that, I'll actually
Oh,
show you how
excellent.
I.
Okay.
So how I invited Jason earlier to this project. I can invite Jason or anybody I want into my project as a collaborator, and I simply just need to go up here on the top. I can see my other collaborators here. I can click on their name, and this little nice drop down list here of folks that are already in this project. But I can easily just click on this Add Collaborator button, drop in their email. So just name@email.com. Once it shows it's a valid email type, just click on it and I can add that user in. Now, if you already have a Frame.io account, you'll just be prompted to log in. You'll get a notification via email. And once you log in, you'll have access to that project. But if you don't have an account, what it'll do is it'll create a free one for you. And then you'll be able to access it once you've created your free account. So, yeah, that's pretty simple. There's not much more to go on that. That's it.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So, as you were talking and explaining, I have since left a couple of comments.
Yes. And
on a particular piece of footage.
Yep. And I see that right here. Normally I would look at my notifications. I could see right here, Jason Levine just left a comment just now. So
it works. Amazing. It's real.
So I could simply just go in here, just click on it. Now I can see Jason's comments right inside of the panel. If this was an edit and I was linked to my timeline, I can actually click on these and remove my playhead. But since this is just a individual clip, I won't have that feature. But yeah, I could see my comments right in here where they correlate on the actual dailies itself. And I'm doing this all inside of Premiere. I didn't have to go into the web app. I didn't have to go somewhere else. And I think this kind of keeps that creative workflow really fresh because you've got media right there. Let's say you've got an editor already working on it. They can go in and say, hey, we need to adjust this, or that's a little blown out. We need to go in there and fix that. So I can actually just go in myself if I want to. This is a little blown out. Even hashtag it. Let's say, I don't know, go for the DP. Let's go for that. And I can even leave a little annotation. Little arrow, change the color. Boom. Posted. And it's done. I'm copying your noises, Jason. You do these little, little sounds.
Right. Yes, I know. No shortage of those. And just so, and again, back on my system, I'm seeing these as well here. I can even switch over to my screen real quickly. Not that people really need to see that, but just to kind of show the immediacy of this. Hold on, I'm just going to pull out your screen for a moment and switch over to me. So again, here I am inside of my Premiere, and there's Sean's comment right there. Looks a little blown out. Okay, so this is all happening in real time. It's pretty stellar. And now again, at this point, like you mentioned, we're sort of going through individual clips, individual shots. Ultimately, another sort of function of the daily is you might do like a string out so that I'm kind of watching all of these in order against a shot list or something too, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can leverage this process, but I think that the main idea is, and you said it best actually just before the show, it doesn't matter what kind of stuff you're doing, you have to review what you shot, period. And if you're working in any kind of, working with anyone else, let me put it that way, how amazing is it to be, hey, Sean, I'm here, you're there, we're in different states. Let's just do this. Do it when you can. Do it, it just works. And I love the simplicity of this. I mean, I don't want to underscore the power of it, but I also want to emphasize the simplicity of you add somebody, they're logged in, you're doing work, you're making comments. And by the way, of course, all of this is contained all in these organized folders. It's a no-brainer. And you can all be doing this today.
And even if you're not doing camera to cloud, you still can upload your files, right within inside of Premiere. You can go in and upload your files directly from your computer. So if you've got a DITN set, or, my memories of doing my own shoots sometimes back in the day was having a hard drive on a computer and just clicking and dragging those files from your card right to the hard drive. You can upload those files right up here. If you've got enough storage space for your OCF media, your original camera files, you can upload those. Otherwise, you can make your own proxies and upload those to Frame so that you can have this connectivity no matter what. If you don't have a Atomos or you're shooting on something and you don't have a Teradek, I mean, you still can do this Dailies process without Camera to Cloud as well.
Right. I love that. Hey, now I've got a question for you. Eugene is asking. Now this might be more for someone on the marketing side, but he's asking. He's got a CC corporate account. And Eugene, you may have to clarify. I don't know if do you mean an enterprise or Teams account, or is it still a Creative Cloud individual account? You need to clarify there. Can I log into Frame.io with a different personal account and carry on working in CC? And I think the answer would be, if you're added, it's based on your email, right? It doesn't care what type. Does it care what kind of account you have? Could I share this project with someone who might be using CC Teams or CC Enterprise? Do you know?
No, because when you invite somebody to your account, you're inviting them into your space. And
right. So it doesn't matter then.
It doesn't matter. So if they can have their own account, they can have their own free account. The workflow can work with each other. Now, if you want to have that person store their own storage, let's say you invite another let's say I invite you, Jason, and I want you to store stuff on your account. If you don't have enough storage space, that might be a little difficult. You may have to upgrade to a plan that will accommodate that. But if I'm inviting you to my space, you basically just have access and a peek inside what is available on the project based on your role, whether you're a collaborator or a team member. You get a little more freedom as a team member, but as a collaborator, you're usually specific to just a single project that you've invited to. But no, that doesn't matter. And you can have multiple accounts, like it's if you've got, different companies or different productions and you want to change that up, you could do that. But if you have an enterprise, I guess we need to clarify if he has enterprise with Adobe or with Frame, because with Enterprise Frame, you can have multiple team management and a little bit more abilities to break out your account a little bit more security wise and things like that. So you get a little bit more options on an enterprise plan with Frame.
Right. And this you're talking about, right? Currently, the sort of, call them storage plans, right, are a bit separated right now between how you handle the Frame side and just your general Creative Cloud storage and those things.
Yeah, Creative Cloud and Frame.io storage are definitely separate, but the bottom line, you can invite each person into your space, or they can invite you into their space.
That's awesome. All right, so now maybe show me so I think this is a question that a lot of people have, right? So you get these things, you get these comments. Ultimately, you want to put this stuff in a timeline, and then maybe you want to act upon those changes in the timeline. So what does that process look like? Basically taking the footage from Frame and bringing it into and making a project out of it, or doing a project.
Absolutely. Again, we don't have to even leave the app. We've got the camera here. Oh, actually, I can go on that in a minute. I get excited, getting ahead of myself. So I could easily just select all these files. I could select individual files that I want to download, and I just need to simply hit download, and I can import those files, which will put it in my project. So if I want to edit that would be the most natural choice. But I could just download those. Like, hey, I just want to store those on the computer somewhere, put them on a drive. I could just simply do that. But importing those files, I can choose my original or any proxy files. Now, if you're working with Camera to Cloud Dailies, they're already going to be fairly small. But let's say you are working with your OCF media and you've got fairly large files. Well, when you upload those to Frame, we do generate proxies from those. So if you want to do an offline edit and kind of not put so much strain on your computer, depending on what format you're shooting, download those proxies. Do your transcode through Frame, upload your OCF files, let us make the proxies, download those, edit them. They could be swapped out at a later time. But yeah, if you're using Camera to Cloud, I would definitely stick to their original files. They're pretty small as it is.
Right. Now, so just on that though, so for a little more clarification. So I'm shooting via Filmic on my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
It's automatically creating proxies. So just to clarify, when it comes time for me to do an actual export of this, how is what do I have to do anything to have the master footage? In this case, like I'm shooting ProRes 422 HQ, 10-bit Rec 2100. Do I have to do anything to attach it to the native media, or is that upload it's doing both in the process?
No, for Filmic Pro, depending on what format you're shooting, if you're doing a larger format like that, we still do H.264 proxies within Filmic Pro. But with the original media, you just follow the same steps on Filmic to get that into your computer. Basically the same way you would do it on set now. If you're shooting with a Red or you're shooting with a DSLR, you'll still have to take those original files and put them somewhere on your machine.
Okay, so I have to manually transfer those and then connect. So this is, again, I'm asking now for the process here. So I want to connect these master files to those proxies. What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways to do that. You could basically, edit your timeline with your proxies. You can export out an EDL list and basically rebuild your timeline. That's kind of like a conform process to do that. So you take your original proxy files. You basically, you take your OCF media, bring it into your project with your EDL list, and it'll basically recreate that timeline you made with your proxies. Or you can also do kind of a relinking thing. So you can basically disable the clips that you have in Premiere and then relink them with the hero media. So you've got different options no matter what, however you'd like to do it.
And that's the standard relinking process that we use today, right? It's nothing. It's not something new or unique to this, leveraging the frame content, correct?
Oh, absolutely not. And I think a lot of folks have been doing this for a long, long time. So that process isn't going to change. It's just that the convenience of having your dailies immediately from set into the camera, into Frame.io, and then having the ability to collaborate with those clips and to leave notes and to, for a while there during COVID, the directors and producers weren't even able to be on set. So being able to have that remote, but I think that opened up a whole new door of possibilities. Like kind of post COVID, it's like, actually, there's a lot more we could do with this than we realize. There's even a new announcement we came out with is the Apple TV app that we have now. And if clients need to kind of be a fly on the wall on the set, you could set it up and have the dailies play back right on the Apple TV. And they could be anywhere. They could be at home. They could be at the office, wherever they need to be to view those. They could be wherever.
Nice. Talking about what you were just saying about, directors and talent not even sort of being able to be in the same room. Kelly Lyon, who we had on last week, who was showing, she's done some amazing edits for John Mulaney's comedy specials and a bunch of other things. And she was talking about this one, the name is escaping me, but it's a recent Amazon production, all these amazing comedians. And the entire thing, it's all these comedians in a room, and it was started at the peak of COVID 2020. So everything had to be, there was, one camera person and the talent were the only ones there during the shoot in like a, not a ballroom, but like a small comedy room. So everything was composited in after the fact. So she was, being the editor, getting all of these dailies, all this green screen stuff and in frame and going, okay, yeah, and basically, again, looking at the raw media going, all right, yeah, the shot, this is going to work. Or I don't know if, really having to use this kind of review because you had to envision what it was going to look like because no one could actually be together, right? Everything was composited. Nothing that occurs in this film, including the laughter and the reactions, all of it was acted, fake, really, right? Because no one was in the room together, and it's comedians, so they're making people laugh and guffaw, and all of these reactions had to happen in isolation and be brought together afterwards. And she was talking about the sound design too, how it was so valuable to have, again, not just the raw material, but she would often get raw plus, added or secondary sound to, again, see if it's going to work at the edit. Like, okay, we're going to need bigger laughs. We're going to need more here because otherwise it just feels so sterile, And she said she couldn't have done it without frame.
Well, I think, on a technical aspect, it's incredible. But I think on a creative aspect, it's huge. And a kind of something that kind of goes along the lines of that. We just did a shoot back, was it right before NAB? I think like 3 weeks before NAB, we did this really huge launch video that's out now. It's our NAB launch video that we have for all of these new announcements I'm just telling you about. Our editor was on set, but the fact that we didn't have to go through a transcode process to get those into the editing room really allowed the creativity to work. And what I'm getting at is that ad required a lot of matching shots between mobile devices and large video screens. And the camera actually had to go in and match a shot that we had to shoot on a different setup. And the fact that our editor had the ability to see those dailies live right there in the edit and put those two clips together to see if that matches up with the movement, they're doing that while the camera's still in the same camera setup. So not only on the technical side and collaboration side is that amazing, but also allowing you to be more creative and do those really complex tracking shots or matching shots and really make it dynamic, because you've got that feedback immediately. You got your editor, they could be wherever, they didn't have to be on set, but the fact that you're still in that same camera setup and you've already got it in the timeline is it just opens up so many more doors.
Right. So if we can, let's take a look at, again, if you've got a timeline, if we can maybe go from some of the footage I just commented on, like, what does that look like? And then what does it look like once let's just say we're going to now work with these proxies, but we're going to do exports or do something to these clips, maybe color correct it and upload. Maybe you could show that and just show what that looks like to, again, create a new version and then, have that appear so that I can then comment on that or, again, be in that part of that process.
Sure. So I've got a kind of a V1 here. This is just raw camera to cloud dailies. So there's no color. There's nothing attached to it. I've already done the edit. I've done all my music and everything. And for sake of time, I can actually just choose kind of an in and out point here. But let me show you something kind of clever. I'm going to clear my markers. Boop. See you later. And let's say, all right, let's go with the blown out clip just so we can like meat and bones here. So I'm just going to put in from Sean, and I'm just going to say, let's say I'm referring to the colorist as saying, this looks like it's blown out. Can we fix this? Okay, boom. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that marker. And I'm going to go ahead and go back up to Frame.io. I'm going to choose upload. I've got an active sequence. Of course, I can upload, files from my computer or the bin that's in my browser. And somebody mentioned earlier about project files. You could upload the project file right here, so you could share that with other editors or somebody else that's working on the project. And I can quickly go in and change the name and version. Let's just do Web 1080 to make it easy. Now, I selected in and out points for sake of time, just because I don't want to do the whole export.
Sure. Yeah, we don't need to render the whole thing. Yep.
But I could do a whole sequence, or if I'm on a work area, I could do that. And of course, I could save that rendered file. But once that's ready to go, it's going to take a few moments here. I got a media encoder needed to open. But once that process is done, it'll pop into Frame. It'll give a notification for everyone, including you, Jason.
Okay, excellent. I'll be waiting for it.
Once you get that notification, you can go in and start making some magic. And then I can also show the linked timelines like I was talking about a little bit earlier.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to let that happen. All right, so while that's doing that, so Eugene's asking another question. I think I know the answer to this, but he's asking if Frame integrates with team projects, or are they separate beasts?
Team projects and Frame.io are a little bit separate beasts. We do actually have a really interesting integration with Adobe Productions, and that works out really well with Frame.io. Now, if you're working with a lot of editors and you're working together like on a project, and a lot of people are tapping into it, Adobe Productions seemed to be the one that really helped out with that, especially for our NAB launch video. Now, I wasn't in that process of that workflow, but our editor, Sarah, has got a few talks about it. In fact, we did a stage presentation at NAB talking about just that. So if you're able to look on the Adobe Live section inside of Facebook, you should be able to see that live stream. And she actually talks about that whole process of how they were able to make that work from set to edit to delivery. But nice. Adobe Productions and a little bit of Lucid Link in there as well, just to make that world kind of work a little bit better.
Awesome. Okay. Ooh, and I see it appearing in Frame there. And I see, hold on, I'm going to pull your screen out for just one sec. Click over to me. And it appears, oh, there's two. So here's the little notification. And if I go up here, Sean McDaniel commented. Sean McDaniel uploaded. Aha. So if I click on this, presumably, it takes me to that edit.
Yeah, and as you can...
Oh, you had a comment in there too? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's your blown out comment from the raw footage.
Exactly. So I was able to do that from the timeline, include that in my upload, and have that already in frame. And I didn't have to do any extra work. I didn't have to go back into the clip.
Nice. All right. Sending it back to you. All right. And then I'm going to come back over to you here. It's a lot of navigation. Wirecast today.
So, I mean, here I am. I've got the notification there. Boom. I mean, it happens instantaneous. Now I'm in the asset itself. And like I said earlier, if I click on the timeline, as soon as I upload it to frame, it's already linked. I don't have to do any work to do that. But I just need to click on my comments and it moves back and forth to where that comment was made. I can always unlink and link that manually if I want to. But if I want to see it in list, I got my list view here. But the big thing is if I want to bring Jason's comment into my timeline, let's say I'm going on a flight or I'm going to be offline, or I just want to see it a little more natively in my project, I could just import that comment and boom.
Nice.
Now it's there. Double click on
that.
Double click on it. I could see it there. But yeah, it's right there.
That's awesome. By the way, if you could just do that again. So the comment marker that's in the timeline, it's in the comments field where you'll see those comments. So this is now completely integrated. It's not even something separate. It's the same marker that you would otherwise use. That's where those comments are revealed in the actual timeline itself. And you can even hover over them, I think, and it gives you like a tooltip or something, right? I think.
Yes, I believe so. Well, if I hover over it, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's really good. It's really well done. Now, talking about versioning, so what does that look like? So let's make a change to this.
Well, let's do what naturally. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let's do what naturally happens with editors. They duplicate their sequence, right? Let me go in here. Actually, let me just reveal sequence and project. Let's do that. Let's make it work for us here. And I'm just going to duplicate it. I think we tried to do that. We did this last time, and I did one of those. Like, oh no! But there we go. That's that. Let's clear these markers. We got a new edit. Let's move a clip around.
Lorianne says this project is very interesting. How is it this splendid? You're very kind. Thank you.
Okay, so let's not do a blown out shot. Let's just leave a note here. Great shot from Sean. We want to make sure we put our comments in here because this is how Premiere reads it back to frame. And we'll put OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload again. Active sequence. Let's just say V3. Now, on your first upload, it's important to have auto version on because when you do this second upload, it has to register that it's the same sequence.
Yeah. Hey, now before you do that, it's too late. Okay, that's fine. I was going to say throw something so just visually that it looks a bit more different. But now I just want to point out too. So the delay in render before, in case anyone was getting a bit snarky, was that you had obviously just updated Media Encoder. So it had to
it did it on its own.
Yeah. So, but notice it's already done. So the same duration, and it took like 2 minutes because it had to unpack and then load Media Encoder and then send it to Media Encoder. This, whatever it is, 10, 15 seconds, it's super fast. I guess that was a holdup on the update. So if you have it already open, it works like this. Yeah. And subsequent exports and versions will take advantage of that. So again, we can't guarantee your speed, but I just want to clarify because someone's like, oh, that render looked a bit slow. Yes, because Media Encoder was updated recently and had to, again, unpack and sort of open, reload, and then do the thing. So once that process has happened, this is going to be a lot faster. So now that you've done that, do you have, maybe you could, I can't remember, is there a version list somewhere in the menu there where we can see all the various versions? Is it in that corner, upper right corner or something of the
Yeah, so if you click on the asset and you open it up in the player, there's a little drop-down menu here at the top. and you can go in and change which version you're viewing. So if we're back to version 2, it'll even change it in my timeline here. It'll change which sequence I'm viewing if it's linked. So that's pretty handy. And what's really cool too, if there's a clip inside of your panel, let's say I did an upload on something a couple days ago, and let's say you leave a comment on it. If I double click on that, actually, let me try it with one of these. It might work. I think I have it in the project. I don't, because I don't have it linked. But if it's linked and it's linked to a sequence, it'll actually open that sequence in the timeline. So I've already got these kind of already active and ready. But if they're just kind of sitting idle inside of my browser and I click on that sequence, it'll open it up. So that's another really cool feature about this integration here.
I love it. I love this. Okay, let's see. What is Austin asking? Where do you find the asset? Well, keep looking. Reverb mic. I never update until my projects are completed. Yes, always a good rule of thumb there. I'm with you there, including my OS. I'm actually, speaking of updating, my main production Mac is still on Catalina because I had a bunch of plugin dependencies. I am now going to make the change to, what is I'm forgetting what it is now.
Oh, I think it's
Monterey, right? Monterey.
I believe so.
Or is it
no,
something else?
It's Big Sur.
Big Sur, sorry. Yes, I'm going to move this one to Big Sur. It's funny. Streaming's on Monterey. This machine's on that one. My newer Mac is on Big Sur. I think the OSs are updating a little too frequently, quite honestly.
I am terrified of updating. I always feel like something's not going to work. I always try to give it a little bit of time, especially on a work computer. You got to wait for the clearances to be okay to update. So I usually wait a version or two before I update anyway.
Yeah, same. It's usually at least a year. And again, a lot of it's to do with various plugins and things. And I use a lot of audio plugins in particular, and some of those they tend to somehow change how on the Mac in particular, how like AU plugins are registered periodically every couple of OSs. Somehow it changes how that's handled. And yeah, I wait. I used to be jump on it, and I'll tell you what, every time I've jumped on it, I burn myself. That's not a don't ever do it, but it is sort of a caveat emptor. As Reverb Mike pointed out, if you're mid-project, just beware. Kyle is asking, how do I get past the 15 upload limit? I don't know what that means exactly.
It sounds like Kyle's it sounds like Kyle might be on a free plan. Free plans are exactly that. They give you kind of a fresh look into Frame, give you some time to kind of play around with it. We give you some demo media in there, so that way you don't have to worry about uploading a bunch of stuff right away. You can just kind of work with the media that's in there and then upload a few files. But once you've reached that limit, it's
you're talking about a space limit. So what is the storage on the free plan?
So on the free plan, it's 2 gigs, but you have a 15 file upload limit, and that's just so you can kind of trial the account out. But I would ask, I'm assuming you have an Adobe CC account. I'm sorry. The person's name was
Kyle.
If you have an Adobe Creative Cloud account, you should have a free Frame.io account included with that, and that gives you 5 gig or 5 project. I'm sorry. I did this 100,000 times, and it's 5 gigs, 2 users, 5 gigs. No, I'm sorry, 100 gigs, 5 projects.
I thought it was more than that.
Yes, and then it's enabled for Camera Cloud. So if you've got Filmic Pro, or you already got kind of a Camera Cloud setup, you'll have that available. And the Camera Cloud is not available on a free plan. So if you've got a Creative Cloud account, take advantage of it. Sign up with that free offer.
Okay, so you shouldn't have a 15 file upload limit if you are a Creative Cloud member already. Then.
No. If you've got a Creative Cloud account and you were offered that plan from Frame.io, log in with that and use that plan for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, there's no limit on that. It's only a limit on how much storage you have, which is 100 gigs.
Got it. Okay, nice. And I like all things. I mean, I recommend trying it, and more importantly, it's not even about trying it. It's seeing how often do you need this. Now, again, if you're working by yourself, let's just be realistic. If it's just you, I I mean, are you going to comment to yourself? You might. There's other ways to do that too. So maybe you don't need beyond the free thing. In other words, this becomes more of a necessity when you're working with others, and that's really the key here. And that's why we kind of have upped what the free capabilities are, just so that you can really see if this is going to be what you need. And ultimately, it comes down to performance, reliability, ease of use, and as you've showcased here brilliantly today, it is all of those things. I mean, anyone who's watched these masterclasses know I can be somewhat critical of certain things in our apps. But when they're awesome, I'm also the first to say that they're super awesome. And the way that this works and getting into using this, particularly if you've used any, and by the way, there have been other third-party panels in Premiere that do similar kinds of things to sort of review and share, all with their own sort of learning curve and sometimes limitation, whatnot. This kind of just works the way you expect it to work, right? I mean, that's sort of the brilliance of this, and of now having it directly integrated. There's not a huge learning curve, right? But if you do want to learn about stuff, I believe you, Sean, have done a video or 2, 10, 50 on this process, correct?
Yes, we do have a very thorough walkthrough on Premiere and After Effects. It's located on our Frame.io's YouTube page. So you'll know it is because it's got my picture on it. But if you want to learn the basics of Frame.io altogether, I also do a Tip of the Week series as well. You can find that on our Instagram page, but you can also find it on our YouTube page. And that kind of breaks down the simple things: how to add users, how to upload your media, things like that. Things that that you'll definitely need to know in order to make all this kind of work. But we do have a thorough walkthrough of our Premiere panel and After Effects panel. And I've also got a full walkthrough on Frame.io on our support pages as well. So,
yeah, by the way, just on that, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. So within CC Learn, I have to imagine, and I can't remember if from the launch screen, the home screen in Premiere, do we have some Frame.io? I believe there is, right? There's yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, I'm going to bounce over to me again. I'm going to stop sharing your screen because I think we're done with that. When you launch Premiere now in the most recent updated version, you will see, first thing you'll see here is, yep, review faster with Frame.io, start tutorial. So this is a great way. And curiously, love the lighting. This is only good for lighting. We only allow you to review lighting commentary in here. Sean neglected to mention that. That's it. You can't comment on anything else but light. Blown out, underexposed, that's it. Beyond that, it's not allowed. Oh, no, that's incorrect. I'm just kidding. Okay. So again, break the fear, click Start Tutorial, start using this. It's particularly awesome. And
I think I'm actually in those videos as well.
Should I start it? Actually, let me see.
I've actually, for some reason, I can't do it on my Premiere. It doesn't let me. It says the internet's not working, but that's not accurate because
that can't be right because we're on the internet.
Exactly. So I haven't really had a chance to troubleshoot it, but apparently there's I work with some teams, and there should be some videos in there as well. If you want to hear me yak more about
one vitally important step.
Oh, there you are.
Sharing your progress with your clients, teammates, or major stakeholders for review and feedback. This can be a tedious process for you and your reviewers.
Now, what's funny is I clicked on that. It just kind of loaded in the background and took over the UI, which is actually pretty awesome. And it even opens up. Is this a live timeline? What?
Yeah, I think they give you a demo. Yeah. They learn
What? What? That's the best in-app freaking tutorial I've ever seen. What? And here's my thing, which is now struggling to play. That's incredible, dude. That's awesome. Wow. Again, kudos to the Learn team. Very well done.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. I remember I did a bunch of videos, and I was like, they live somewhere. And then somebody had mentioned that I was on those, and I have yet to see them, so I haven't had time to look at them.
Well, when you've been here as long as I have, I've heard that many times too. And they're like, "Oh, did you see them?" Like, I didn't watch myself. I mean, there's a level of narcissism, but no, I don't look at myself within the app. I assume some of them are still there. I think there's some really old ones in Audition that are pointing to me, but I don't think they're in app quite like that. That's actually awesome. I've seen the walkthroughs. It's interesting, right? I haven't clicked on these in a while because in After Effects, we have similar sort of step throughs that are like animation style. This is, oh no, you're still in the app. Here's a timeline. You're still working on whatever you were working on, but here's something else. That's awesome. So want to emphasize too, especially for our friends over at NFS who are kind of new to Premiere or new to these workflows, check out the Learn tab. You can, find it under the window menu. I think there's probably a learning workspace. There is, and emphasizing workspaces there. A lot of things, if you just start looking and poking around, you're gonna find these things. Great stuff in there. Sean, we're almost out of time here. Any other final thoughts around this, around Frame and kind of getting started with this?
Best thing to do is just dive in, just get started, start uploading files. Even if you're not, if you're kind of a smaller crew and you're working kind of on your own, the ease and simplicity of having your dailies right in your pocket and being able to look at those through the iOS app and see what you're shooting and working on instead of going to a computer or camera. I mean, just dive in and start working with it. It's a powerful application and it does more than just your dailies. You can, leave comments, you could send out reviews, you could send out reels. And it's a very robust application, and we pride ourselves on our support and how much, help we want to give to users. So have fun with it. Just have fun and give us feedback, challenge us. We want to make sure that we're giving you what you need to make your productions work easier, because we want to make workflow easier. So,
yeah. And I think that's huge. That's a big thing. And I know, listen, we got a lot of stuff via Adobe Care and everything else, but he's very serious. And also to point out, if you're also using the Premiere Pro beta, which all of you as Creative Cloud members have access to, so all of the video and audio products, Premiere, After Effects, if you launch those betas, you can actually, from within the app, see what's new, what's coming, and leave feedback and suggestions. It'll take you to where you need to go from within the app itself. This is the best way to get these comments and feedback directly in front of the engineers. I mean, they literally do read a stack of those daily from each of those applications. So I know there's forums, I know there's the Reddit, of course, there's lots of places to go, but the in-app commentary where we direct you to make and leave those comments, it's hugely valuable, right? And this really kind of informs the teams and how to just keep on improving. And also with regard to Camera to Cloud, I think that was kind of how the sort of the impetus to get things like Filmic into that workflow, because previously, as you mentioned, it was sort of the super high-end camera workflows, right? Not necessarily accessible to anyone if you had access to said things. Then we introduced Atomos, then we introduced these other things. So all of these things kind of inform and help make these things better, make the workflow stronger, and just broaden this community. And we want to hear from everybody.
Yeah, same. I'd say the only way to know is to just give it a try. I will never work another way again on my own personal shoots and productions. I have to have Camera to Cloud there. It's just no other way to work.
Nice. All right, Sean. Well, listen, I'm going to close us out today with my final minute and a half from my this incredible film that we mentioned before. Hold on, I'm gonna go to another stop frame here of me. Here, wait, I'm gonna switch over my screen again. This was a closing of this video that I had done over here in the source monitor. This was some studio that I was in New York using an emulator synth. And this is interesting in particular because, as some of you may know, was it yesterday, the day before, the composer Vangelis passed. He was 79. If you're a fan of electronic music, most famously the composer of Chariots of Fire. I mean, everybody knows it, right? Right, exactly. I was a huge Vangelis fan. In fact, I tweeted out yesterday to a friend and colleague, Aaron Rabinowitz, that one of the two first CDs that I purchased with my TIAC CD player circa late 86 were the Bach Brandenburg Concertos 4-6 and Vangelis Opera Sauvage. So it's funny, as I was going through this footage from 87, I even played some things that were kind of sort of Vangelis-y. I mean, I was very, very influenced by him. I also, as I noticed, there were some sections there where I was like playing actual Beatles footage in this content, which is pretty fun. Absolutely not licensed, but hey, I was 12 or 13. Anyway, we're going to close it out with a closing of this video. I want to thank everybody for watching. We've got the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge coming up next. Sean, as always, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. We will have you back on the show if you will grace us with your awesomeness again. And take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Here we go. Oh, I keep muting this. God, I really stink at doing this. One more time.
Jim Morrison, Billy Joel, Vangelis, Michael Jackson, George Michael, Bon Jovi, The Doors, Robert Moog, Moog synthesizers. And with that, I'll give you a little special ending right now.
It's a bag of bagel chips over there. That was my company's name, CE Productions. Playing the synth behind me. No idea what that is. And fade to black. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.